Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I know we're not going to do this every video, but in today's video we're just going to jump right to the video. But I'm basically going to show you guys how I come up with formulas and how I formulate and how I use my formulated calculator. And well, it's not my calculator, but I'm going to be showing you guys which formulation calculator I use, and I'm going to be demonstrating how I use it. And we're just going to use an example to, a visual example, because I'm a visual learner. So we're just going to go through all of that in this video, because I did have a recent comment on one of my videos asking how to formulate, or how we come up with the percentages in the formula. And I tried to summarize it, but it is more depth to it. So she asked me to do a video, and here I am doing a video. So yeah, hopefully this helps her out, and hopefully it helps anybody that needs it out. Okay, all right, let's get right into it. I got my notes on my old phone, so I'm going to be looking at my phone periodically throughout the video. So yeah, in case you guys are wondering, I am basically self-taught. Like, I went searching on how to formulate on my own, and I got majority of my knowledge from Swift Crafty Monkey. I'll put a link to her blog. She has a couple of subscription levels, and she helped me tremendously. I believe her name is Susan, but her blogs helped me tremendously and encouraged me a little bit more to start my journey. And I did want to start making body lotions and stuff and body butters, mainly because I have eczema and my kids have eczema. So yeah, I wanted to formulate our own eczema cream. So when you're formulating, you want to make sure your formula equals out to 100%. I want to say that first, because it's important. It's important, especially for beginners. Nothing's really going to happen if you do go over 100%, because I've did it plenty of time, and I still have stable products on my shelf now, because I do observe my products for a while, and some just don't get used and some just sit there. So I still have some stuff from like 2019 on my shelf, and they're still pretty stable, except for, and some of them, the oils are going rancid, because I did use grapeseed oil, and that oil has a short shelf life. So yeah, nothing won't happen, but it will be a little bit more difficult to like upscale some, especially if you want to do it in your head. But yeah, so make sure everything is 100% to make everything easier on you. So you want to know what you are making. Like, you have to go in with a game plan. Like, whether you want to formulate a body lotion, a body scrub, body butter, face wash, face cream, just know what you want to formulate. And it is important to have an understanding of the ingredients you are going to be using. It's basically key. That's very important, because you want to have like a profile of the ingredients you're going to use. Like, I have, I'll show you guys on the screen coming up now. So this is my handy dandy little notebook. I use OneNotes by Microsoft, and I just keep my profiles of each ingredient I use or would like to use in the future. I keep them all right here. So I literally have a profile of each ingredient. But I have files. Like, you can either handwrite them or put them in a phone, or both. I typically try to handwrite them and put them in a file, because sometimes your phone could get white and you could lose everything. So I try to keep my stuff stored in multiple places, and I try to handwrite them whenever I can and if I have time. So you want to make sure you have an understanding of your ingredients. And the next thing that you may want to consider is, how do you want your formulation to come out? Like, the texture, the viscosity, the feeling of it. You need to think about all of that, because it will help you determine how much of what ingredient you want to put in there. For example, if you want like a stiff body butter, or something like a stiff product, maybe a more thicker lotion, which will, in my opinion, be a cream. If you want something like that, you may want to consider having stearic acid in the formulation, harder butters maybe, you know, you want to formulate in that sort of way. Or if you want more like a fluffy, lightweight body butter, you may want to have softer butters and a little bit more liquid oils at room temp. You may want to have a little bit more of that, and maybe a tinge of stearic acid, and maybe a tinge of, am I saying that word, tinge? Whatever, of harder butters. That way it could keep its form, but it still have like a nice fluffy consistency once you whip it up. That's why it's important for you to know your ingredients and learn them and profile them. That way you know how much of what to put in the product you want. That way the viscosity or the texture could come out to your liking, or what you planned for it to come out. Now, after you have all that in order, I would go ahead and go to the calculator, or you can write it down on a piece of paper. I would jot down the ingredients that I would like to use in my formula, and I usually put them in ordinance of the phases they're going to be in. So there's a water phase, or oil phase, and a cool down phase. Your water soluble ingredients will go in a water phase, of course, and your oil phase, that will include all the oil soluble ingredients. I'm sorry, I'm tripping over my own tongue. But in your cool down phase will be all your cool down ingredients. So yeah, that's why it's important to, once again, know your ingredients. That's the key thing. Know your ingredients. I'm going to keep repeating that because everything references back to that. You have to know your ingredients in order to start formulating and know the percentages. And it's smart to get your ingredient information from the website that you purchased it from. When you're jotting stuff down, make sure your ingredients do not clash with each other. For example, you cannot pair in a body lotion or, you know, anionic things with cationic things, you know, positively charged things with negatively charged things together, or your formulation could crumble. I will show you guys an example. I did that in one of my videos. That's why it's important to what, you guys? To what? Know your ingredients. Great job. So yeah, yeah. This is something I like to do, but I like to choose a star ingredient. Need some water. So yeah, I like to choose a star ingredient or a highlighted ingredient that I would like to plaster on the front of the label, you know. So if I wanted something that's highlighting hyaluronic acid, I would put, like, maybe includes hyaluronic acid, or I would include that in the name of my product, like hyaluronic face wash or face cream, you know. So I like to choose like a star ingredient or a highlighted ingredient, maybe even two, and like I like to include it in the title of my product, or I like to like make sure it's in there, you know, up to the highest percentage that I could use it at, possibly, if it makes sense. I was also trying to say that a star ingredient may be at the bottom of the ingredient list, because it could be an extract and that could be my star ingredient, but the extract could be so potent that it could only be used in low dosage, but it still could pack a punch in a product. So people may think it's not the star ingredient because it's at the bottom, but in reality it is, and we know that because we formulated it and because it has a specific usage rate that we can't have it in high amounts in our product. That's what I was trying to explain in this clip. So yeah, I just had to mute it and do a voiceover because yeah. I just kind of wanted to debunk that real quick in this video because I have been seeing a lot of controversy about that. And another important one is to know the usage rates of your ingredients. You have to know the usage rates of all the ingredients that you are going to be using. Is crucial. There's such thing as skin irritants. Another thing for usage rates, you may want to consider the price, because extracts could get pretty expensive and pricey, but that ties into how do you come up with percentages of things. It's solely up to you, honestly. Just stay in the usage rates of what the supplier gives you. So now I'm going into actually using a calculator. So after I've thought about all the ingredients that I do want to use, I will type them in the calculator, type all the names, and I usually order mine from like water phase, and I skip a line and then do my oil phase, skip a line, then type in my cool down phase. And then from there, I usually like to go ahead and start filling in how much of each I want. Now for the common sense ones that I usually use first is the cool down phase, because that's where my preservative is going to be. So I'll go ahead and type in the highest usage rate of that. So say if I want like 1.5% Optifan or 0.5% Liquid Derma Plus, I will go ahead and type that. And after that, everything is free for all. It's all up to you. Like, it depends on the consistency you want your product to be. That's why I can't give you guys a straight answer of how much of each ingredient do I put in a product. You honestly just pull numbers from your head, depending on what you want the texture and consistency and viscosity of the end product you want. So me, I get ingredient happy when I'm formulating. So this is the time I actually like to take to actually subtract some ingredients and maybe add if I don't think it's enough. So maybe I have included too much oils in my product, which is, there's no such thing for me, because I love oil. I love me a good moisturizing, you know, little greasiness lotion. I don't mind it, especially at nighttime, okay? That's just my personal preference. So yeah, that's the time I would take to be like, oh, I'm about to go over 100 and I still have to do my emulsifying wax, or I have to add in my emulsifier. Because after I do my oil phase, I would typically do my emulsion last, because it'll give you a suggested rate. They'll tell you maybe like 20% of the oil phase, and that's how much emulsifier you would use in order for the product to be stable. Or they'll be like 2 to 5% for lotions and creams maybe. But after everything is equal out to 100, just go ahead and create the product and see if you like it, basically. If you got it on the first try, then kudos to you. You're lucky, good job. But if it turns out you don't like it, let it sit for a day or two maybe. Let all the ingredients really get to know each other and marry each other, you know, and see if you really like the end viscosity of it. If it turned out too watery, maybe try adding more stiff ingredients like stearic acid or harder butters. Or if it came out too stiff, maybe steer away from ingredients that's high in stearic acid and stearic acid itself, or fatty alcohols like cetyl alcohol. Just, you know, you have to make adjustments. That's why it's important to experiment, and it's important to keep these experiments as well and take notes on them. That way you won't make that mistake again. So that's important as well. You have to keep notes on what you are making. That's why I like to label my products, date them the day that I made them, and I like to observe it over time to see if anything changes, maybe within a week or a month, and just keep them in like a little container or jar and like observe them over time and see how well the preservative would last, how well the oils last, or the emulsion, you know. So that's why I like to keep them and take notes on them and learn from my experiments. I was about to say mistakes, but they're not mistakes, they're experiments. I believe that's everything I have on how to formulate or come up with percentages for a formula. So do not forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know below if it was useful to you or not, but I'm hoping it was, and I will see you guys in the next video.